As mentioned in the state's brief in Zafiro versus the United States, the Supreme Court stated that joint trials play a vital role in the criminal justice system, that they promote efficiency, serve the interest of justice by avoiding the scandal and inequity of inconsistent verdicts. Currently, the defendant's cases are assigned to two different judges. This is highly inefficient, as it requires duplicative work from two judges, their clerks, and their staff. It requires the state to perform duplicative work by creating a need to litigate similar issues twice in front of two different courts. This raises one of the most important issues in front of the court, as in most criminal cases, issues of evidence will be litigated prior to trial in these cases. It's inevitable. The trial court has varying degrees of discretion over the admissibility of evidence. As these cases are currently situated, it's entirely possible that an issue of evidence could be decided upon differently by two different courts. The state believes that could create automatic issues of appeal if that decision is beneficial to one defendant and yet harmful to another defendant.
Okay, welcome back to Law and Crime Report. I am your host, Bob Bianchi. What you were listening to was the prosecutor in the Chad and Lori Daybell case, Rob Wood, talking about why they were trying to make sure that those cases were tried together. They were successful in October in that motion. They will be tried together. But I got to just jump right into this, because I've been saying for a long time, this is the case that's going to keep on giving. And we have a great expert with us right now, our very own Cathy Russon, the executive producer here at the Law and Crime Work. I like to refer to her as the Renaissance woman of the Law and Crime Network, because she wears all hats at all time. And Dina Dahl from Los Angeles, California, who has avoided the snowstorm here in the Northeast. Congratulations, Dina. She's an attorney, mediator, trial consultant, journalist, a co-founder of her law firm. And I love this quote from your website that I pulled out. Love is simple. People are complicated. If you want to resolve a case outside the courtroom, focus on people. She is also a law and crime analyst. Cathy Russon, give us a breakdown about what is happening now with defense arguments that they're trying to say Robert Wood, the prosecutor, should be thrown off the case and has acted unethically. What's that about?
Okay, so in the last couple of days, there's been a lot of activity going on in this case. Mark Means, Lori Vallow, Daybell's attorney, filed a motion, and then subsequently, Chad Daybell's attorney, John Pryor, filed an almost identical motion to remove prosecutor Rob Wood from the case. They're alleging that in early October, so just a couple of months ago, Rob interviewed two witnesses, Lori's sister Summer and Alex Cox, which is Lori's now deceased brother's widow, Zulema, in Arizona. And that it was improper. They're saying he violated rules. They're accusing him of prosecutor misconduct. But the way this came about is there was one attorney, Garrett Smith, that represents both those women in Arizona. He has now said he recorded that conversation and that interview, and that he was disturbed by some things that Rob Wood said. So he sent the recording to Mark Means, Lori's attorney. Rob Wood said he had no knowledge of being recorded. He didn't know he's being recorded. He says he's done nothing wrong. He's filed an affidavit saying he was contacted by the women's attorney, Garrett Smith, to come down and kind of have a meet and greet with these two witnesses, and that he did that, and that he left, and then the women were interviewed by Arizona law enforcement. He said he wasn't there for that part of it. Parts of the transcript of this recording did get filed before the judge had a chance to seal them. So prosecutor Rob Wood immediately filed a motion to seal anything to do with that recording until they could have a hearing. But Mark Means filed some of the transcript before the judge could seal it. That has now been sealed today. But what we do know is, I paraphrase, and I don't have the transcript in front of me, but that prosecutor Rob Wood allegedly was saying things to Summer, Lori's sister, like, your sister's going to be charged as an accessory to murder. This could be a death penalty case. He allegedly in that recording talks about how Chad Daybell is the mastermind behind all of this, but he has his best evidence against her sister, Lori. So there are some really bombshell moments in that recording that we may or may not ever hear. And we do expect there's going to be an emergency hearing set soon. Could be as soon as tomorrow. We just don't know.
Yeah, Dina, thank you, Cathy. Great rundown. Dina, listen, there is nothing wrong at all with a lawyer, whether it be a prosecutor or a defense attorney, interviewing witnesses. In fact, the courts have found a failure of attorneys to interview witnesses could actually constitute malpractice. But what is typically done is it's done in the presence of an investigator so that there can't be a claim that the prosecutor in this case is now a witness. Because what we have here, as Cathy indicated, is the defense saying that, quote, they were coerced, unduly influenced, coached, and intimidated. That is certainly not good in and of itself. And the prosecutor is saying, no, this was just an introduction. I just introduced myself, explained who I was, and thereafter law enforcement ascertained facts for them. So we have to spell that out. We have to know what that is. But can you give us a breakdown as to what you think about it? If it comes out that they were being threatened or intimidated or coerced, that's a problem for the prosecutor, no?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there is a reason like that you call it, as you say, an interview, because you're supposed to be gathering information and not influencing, coercion, or like giving information to the witnesses. You cannot shape the witnesses. I mean, this is actually so profound that we can't even have witnesses in the courtroom before they're called to testify, because we want the witnesses only to testify to what they know and not to be influenced in any way by other witnesses, or certainly not by the prosecutor's idea of what the case is and who the players are. So the fact that there's an audio recording, there isn't going to be a he said, she said here, which is very helpful. If the defendant's rights were violated and there was coercion around the witnesses, it sounds like we're going to know.
Well, Cathy, I have the motion and the paperwork that were filed here. Thanks that you provided it to us. It would be extraordinary that the defense is putting in an affidavit things about coercion and intimidation, things that went far beyond just an introduction, because they could be subjecting themselves to perjury and court sanctions and disbarment. If this is in fact true, this goes back to what we talk about all the time here, Cathy, at the Law&Crime Network: sloppy prosecutorial actions. You have a detective there to record or to note down what's being said, if for no other reason, Cathy Russon, that you don't wind up in a hearing like this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to this. There's a lot to this, but Mark Means, Lori's attorney, has not been shy about airing out anything he wants to on his Twitter account. This is just a different case all the way around. And I will say that part of what we know that is in that recording is apparently Rob Wood is like demeaning Mark Means, saying that he's in over his head. Something. I'm all paraphrasing, but he didn't have nice words to say about Mark Means. So that part's interesting. Rob Wood also says the part of it, the recording that he heard, was not the full conversation that was had, and he believes it's been altered or edited in some fashion.
Well, that's something, Dina, that can be done with the experts, forensic experts, plus you have the testimony of the individuals that were in the room that can either substantiate it or not substantiate it. But what's just compelling to me is that they're basically saying, the defense, that they want to potentially call the prosecutor, Rob Wood, as a potential witness in the case because of the things that were said. Now, this is a very bold and aggressive assertion by the defense. It's hard for me to imagine that they're just making it up out of whole cloth, given that there's witnesses and a recording, maybe so. But man, this is exactly what you don't want as a prosecutor, to be a witness in the case that you're prosecuting.
Exactly. I mean, it's to the point where he will probably have to recuse himself. If that really is going to happen, that you cannot have that in front of a jury, right? So this could be the defense's way of removing, to this point, an effective prosecutor and having somebody else have to step in. Because if they really have enough to be able to call him and have an effective interrogation of him on the witness stand, he no longer is credible and effective in his role as prosecutor and would really have to step aside.
And I will add one permutation to it. If I were a defense lawyer, and I am one, I would then be saying the entire office should be recused under those circumstances. Stay tuned, guys. We'll wait to see what happens with this development. It's a case that keeps on giving. Let me ask you guys, is this couple ever going to get charged with the murder of their children? Cathy, you know this case better than anybody.
Well, if we believe what is in that recording, prosecutor Rob Wood told Summer that her sister is going to be charged as an accessory to murder. So other than that, we have not heard. Nobody's been charged in the murder of these two children. That remains were found buried in Chad Daybell's backyard in June, and nobody's been charged with their murder. So you have to assume those charges are coming down at some point.
What do you think, Dina?
I think so too. I mean, the public just doesn't let murder of 2 children get away. It might get complicated, it might take a while, but at some point someone's going to get charged.
Yeah, and listen, I've been in the position before. So long as I believe that person did it and we have enough evidence, even though it may be a weak case, you'd rather go forward with it and lose it than just let it go. And that may be the position of the prosecutor, although prosecutors, you can see, are taking some hits here. Guys, we have so much on the plate here for you. Arbery case is back in the news. Maxwell, the Zodiac killer from 50 years ago, an amazing development. And the missing boy, Nilo, that may be in trouble, and law enforcement is asking for our help to solve this case. We'll be right back.